Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, and welcome, Julie McDonald. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Miriam.
I'm so glad, and I'm so glad you are here. We are celebrating your book launch for your second children's book. Can you first show everybody the book that's being launched today and tell them the title?
So, my rose-colored glasses, a Bailey and Button story, and the illustrator is Clarice Diamantino, and very excited to have this second one out in the world.
I'm so excited also because it's another great book. Can you tell everybody, Julie, what is the book about and who would you say that it's for?
Well, Bailey and Buttons are continuing their journey with the focus, the social emotional aspect. And she discovers a pair of rose-colored glasses in Grandma's dress-up box, and she's playing with Buttons and her little brother Thomas. And she puts them on, and she loves how rosy and how much brighter everything is. And Grandma, comes in and says, "Oh, you found my rose-colored glasses." And she starts to explain that it's, an expression, and looking through rose-colored glasses is about finding the good in things, even though things may not seem so nice. Bailey kind of shrugs it off, but she wants to borrow them because she really thinks they're pretty. And so she goes about her day, and she and Buttons face moments that really feel frustrating and disappointing and a little bit hard. She sees this gross caterpillar because she doesn't like bugs so much, friendship struggles, a disappointing lunch, a bike that feels too big. And with the help of these glasses, she's learning to see the good in things. So each time she's in these situations, she must decide, is she going to focus on what's going wrong and kind of judge the situation, or is she going to pause, look a little closer, and then choose a kinder and more curious perspective? So this story really is about that empathy, and resilience, and learning to look at our world through that lens of kindness, curiosity, and love. Because that small shift in perspective really can make a big difference in how we look at our world, and it can really change everything.
I love that message. I love that. I can see how parents or grandparents or teachers would want this book
Mhm.
for the kids in their class. So, what is it that you hope that parents and kids will take away from the book?
Well, especially we can't always control what happens, our external circumstances, but we always have a choice in how we react, how we look at things, how we show up. So, looking for the good doesn't mean we ignore challenges. They're going to happen, but our perspective makes the difference. So, really looking with that love, that kindness is at the heart of the book. So, once we, wonder what else could this mean or why, it just really helps us to come at it with a kinder viewpoint and a more curious that there is more
Yes.
than one way to look at things.
I like how you put that. It's about teaching kids to be curious and ask those different questions for themselves. That's so good. Would you
Hmm.
hold the book up one more time? I just want to tell everybody this book, its book launch day is available on Amazon today. So make sure to go there and grab a copy of My Rose-Colored Glasses. And this is Julie's second book. Julie, can you show everybody your first book and tell them what the first book is about?
This book is, hold it the right way. Hold it the right way. This book also has Bailey and Buttons on a journey. Really, they start out in Grandma's a garden, and she, notice how different and unique these flowers are. But it's one of those messages on finding true value and beauty within. She discovers a little secret in the garden with a bee and the flowers, and kind of goes through those days again with some hard moments, as in her little 6 7 year old world, that things are difficult and frustrating and not going the way so she's angry and feeling left out. But through a little wisdom with Grandma about the flowers and the bee, she learns the message of internally, that she's perfect just as she is. She's not defined by what happens on the outside. Things people are going to say and do whatever, but she has value and beauty within.
Such great book. So, friends, when you go to Amazon, Julie, hold both books up. Definitely get a copy of My Rose Colored Glasses. That's book launch today, but also find this other book, the first book in the series. I love sharing with my granddaughter when there's a series. This is the first book, and then they get so attached to the characters. They want to know more about them. So definitely, friends, get both books. They're there in soft cover, paperback, hardcover, and also ebook format. So, what, once you wrote the first book, Julie, what inspired you to write another book?
Wow, I had to think back to when I was teaching in the classroom, my grandkids, just all children, experience such big emotions. And there are so many ways, adults can talk to them and how they should respond or whatever, but through stories is where they truly connect with these characters and they are walking alongside them through the same experiences. So I really wanted to help them grow through, self-acceptance, self-worth, emotional resilience, kindness, so many things. So in writing both of them, setting the foundation of, you are worthy, you're enough, you are loved. And now, how can I, explore my world and navigate through those emotions to where you can have those conversations with kids through the book. They can put themselves through the lens of the character. How would they feel? What would they do? And it makes it more inviting and safe to
Hmm.
actually be okay with having those feelings. And then see, how did this character handle it? Maybe I can do that too. So I really
Yeah.
wanted to have Bailey and Buttons be their companions throughout that process.
That's so good because kids get so much out of listening to a story. They see themselves in the characters. And I mean, everything you described from the first book, the things that this little girl is going through, riding the bike that's too big for her,
Yeah.
being disappointed with her lunch, thinking a bug is gross. These are the things that 6, 7, 8-year-old kids are going through and they're thinking. So I love that they can see themselves in your characters and then learn from that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so thinking now about you as an author for the second time, how was the process different this time from the first time?
I had much more confidence knowing what to expect. Things
Hmm.
flowed, the timeliness of everything. So, I was really more intentional about developing Bailey's character and making sure I stayed true to the first book and how she acts and talks and all those types of things. So, really when you do a series, you have to stay true to who's in her world and the things that she likes to do. So, the probably the challenging as always is making sure that your story is delivering the message in a relatable way. You are actually showing through the illustrations, through the child situations, experiences, and not just telling. So,
Yes.
so as far as being different, just having that strong companion book and that I always definitely learned some new things along the way and I got better at them too.
Yes, definitely. Well, both books, excellent books. And okay, so I noticed that your illustrator, same illustrator.
Hmm.
What was it like working with her again?
Oh, fantastic. She was so excited. And, I like booked her out long before saying, are you going to be available to do this and many future books? Because she just nailed it with the colors, the warmth of the characters, the relatability, the expressions, all the things. And, she was very good about, allowing, there were maybe a few things that I wanted to see how what her ideas were, because that, again, perspective, she had a great way of illustrating things that I would have no clue on. There are
Mm.
only a couple things like highlight, in the first story, the bee, show her, being on the bike where it's kind of wobbly, just different things like that. And it's so fun watching those come to life. And when she gets as excited about it, it just makes me more excited because she's really invested in, Bailey and Buttons and the whole thing.
That's good. That's good. Please share her name again.
Clarice Diamantino.
Okay, excellent. She did a great job. I love the the game, if you will, at the end of the book, going back to look for the butterflies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tell everybody about that.
If it's okay, can I show that page?
Yes, yes, definitely.
So obviously, at the beginning with the gross caterpillar and her friend Oliver who finds it, and Bailey's disgusted at first, her perspective about it. Well, this is Oliver's world, right? He loves bugs and he loves the evolution of it into butterflies, and he knows so much about them. So I'm like, what if I weave in different butterflies? The kids would have to guess maybe which ones throughout the story is that the caterpillar evolves into. So Clarice, when she shared the pictures, here I'm thinking just one of this kind, one of this kind. No, she went ahead and put butterflies all throughout. We picked about 10 different ones, and each one of them is shown anywhere from 5 to 7 times. So now it's a scavenger hunt to find
Hmm.
all the different monarchs, the blue swallowtails, and so forth. So that was exciting.
It is exciting, and kids love that. Kids love going back and reading it again and then start
Yes.
looking for counting the butterflies. So I needed to mention that because it's a fun book. Your kids will love this book.
Thank you.
Yes. So how does it feel for you now, having another children's book out in the world?
Oh, many things. Excited, proud, ready to more motivated to continue the series. Eventually have like a boxed set of these for that
Mhm.
social emotional for educators in the classroom. One of the best benefits and gifts is being able to have those author visits in schools, classrooms, assemblies, whatever it is, and connect with the kids about the special
Yes.
messages. And so this just inspires me even more to continue navigating those big emotions and allowing kids to connect with it, have the conversations and connections. So that's probably is the best thing about having both books now.
That's awesome. That's so good. Okay, I have to ask, can you think of, is there anything you want to share about a school visit or a time that you read your book to a child, maybe something they said, or just a time that you felt like I'm on the right path? This is why I did this. I'm so glad I have my book out. I don't know. Anything you want to share, what's memorable for you?
Oh, I think especially the questions and answers at the end, because some are
Okay.
just so intrigued and inspired by what it takes to be an author. And, you know, why does Bailey have a dog? I mean, all these interesting things, but it they become more excited too about the fact that they have a voice and they can write stories because we talk about how they can be an author.
Good.
How many of you like to read and write and all those things? But one of the really powerful things is afterwards. You kind of go home and I do my own thing. But when the assistant principal, calls me up or tells me, that one of the students came in and said how much they loved it and said, well, I really like that author today. I want to write my own story. Or, how can I get a button spare? Just what happens afterwards
After.
and the
Oh,
conversations that they have. I think that is what makes it all worthwhile.
yes, that's so special. That's so special. And I wanted to ask you, what advice do you have for an author who's thinking about continuing their writing career, writing their second or third book in the series?
Well, don't go for perfection. You have a team to support you, and even if you don't, there's many people to ask for what do they think or whatever, and be open with that because so many times they give ideas about whatever it is from illustrations to what the character can do or how they respond or a new twist. They're like, I never thought about that. This is fantastic. And that really helps propel your story because you're open to that. And secondly, I would say trust your voice. No one
Mhm.
can tell it like you. You are unique, and how you perceive it and share that perspective matters. And that's that carries a lot of weight. And thirdly, is always remember your why. What is the message? What do you hope, people will gain from this? Because it needs to be shared. If it's on your heart right
Mhm.
now, it definitely needs to be shared.
Absolutely. Thank you, Julie. Okay. Well, all right. So I want to ask you, my next question is where can our viewers find you? So today, everybody go to Amazon and grab a copy of this new book and also the Julie's other book. So My Rose-Colored Glasses, a
Mhm.
Bailey and Button story. So we want them to go to Amazon today. I love the best thing we could do for our authors is support them, especially on their book launch day. So go do that. But then besides going there, where else can they find you?
My website, juliemcdonellauthor.com, and also through social media, Julie McDonnell Author, Facebook and Instagram. So those are the two places that I'm most involved in where I keep updates and all of that.
Okay.
And
Good, good.
yeah.
Yeah, and also go there to find. I love when you put updates about your school visits or the things that you're doing as an author. So if you're an author, go follow Julie. See how she is handling and thriving through the world of publishing and going into schools and sharing her book. All right, Julie. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. I always like to ask this question before I go, just in case there's anything I didn't ask you or if there's
Mhm.
anything you would like to share.
Oh gosh, I do want to mention that on the website there always is the free downloadables activity guides for younger learners and older learners because from an educator perspective, parent, grandparent, I want to make sure that it's applicable to everyone and allows follow-ups and things you can do to engage even further in the stories. Other than that, I'm looking forward to my future author visits this year and reaching more children with those messages.
I love that. Love that. I love seeing you as an author and I love hearing how you're thriving with that. So it's been so good speaking with you, Julie. Congratulations on another great book. And friends, you know what to do. Go to Amazon and definitely go find Julie on her social media and her website. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Miriam.
Thanks, Julie. Bye bye.